Hello from Gardening at Dwensa here in Ireland, and this video is a very short discussion between myself and Roger from Roger's Orchids about Aerangis in general. Okay, so do you want to say to everybody thanks?
Hi, I'll do it again.
Yes.
This is Roger, thanks for dropping by.
Okay, we just had to get that out there, just definitely. Okay, so myself and Roger are here in my greenhouse today, and we thought we'd have a brief chat about our experiences with Aerangis. And I had hoped that when Roger came that my Aerangis punctata would be in flower, but it has decided quite reluctantly not to open. And
I'd say that might even be 3 or 4 days off.
Right, so it's going to be after you've gone back.
Probably, but I'm sure I'll catch it on a video.
Yes,
It's going
I'm
to
sure
be
you will.
captured. But I've found the, see we'll debate now. I say Aerangis.
Oh, okay.
I
You
use
say Aerangis, I say Aerangis.
We can do the tomatoes and potatoes, but you get what we mean. Because it's Latin, is it a soft G or a hard G? And then you ask yourself, does it really matter? Because everybody knows what we mean.
Exactly.
But I've always said Aerangis.
Exactly.
Probably I heard somebody say it that way and have just stuck with
Just
it.
stuck. Okay, in any case, we're talking about a genus of orchid that originates from East Africa, I believe.
Central down to southern Africa, dominated in the east, Madagascar and the two associated islands with Madagascar. And many of the Aerangis on Madagascar are endemic, as are the other two islands. Some are found on Madagascar and the mainland, but not many. They tend to be either mainland or Madagascar.
Well, this one is from Madagascar anyway, and I think it's quite typical in the way the flowers present, because I think originally this genus used to be part of Angraecum.
It did, yes.
And by looking at the flowers, really, we can
tell.
see why, can't we? But I think, do all of them have these long spurs?
They don't all have long spurs, but they all have a spur.
Right.
Do you want to do the Darwin bit?
Go do the Darwin bit.
The original Darwin orchid has a spur that's, I think it's something like 7 or 8 inches long. These are night-scented, night-pollinated by moths, and Darwin concluded from that spur that somewhere there's a moth with a tongue long enough to get down to the nectar. And as often with theories, he was laughed at. 40 years later, after his death, it was captured on video, which I've seen the video, black and white unfortunately, but it's a large hawk moth that stands back from the plant, extends its tongue and zooms in. And the tongue goes down in. And a magnificent video that's got copyright on it. So how the guy showed it to me, I don't really know, I didn't ask. But yeah, so long after the guy's death, it was proven that his theory was correct. And that orchid does have a problem in the wild now because the moth is becoming extinct.
So it can't be
So
pollinated.
Its only pollinator may be being lost. But it's in cultivation, so we won't lose the plant.
Well, that's it, I suppose, really. Now, I mean, this one we're looking at is punctata, but I think probably the most common Aerangis that people are going to grow is the citrata one. And
we both had one once.
we both had one once.
No, we both haven't got one.
Mine flowered for 2 years, and it was absolutely beautiful. More than one spike.
That's why I got mine.
Beautiful scent as well.
Well, mine didn't flower, it died before it even did that. Mine just keeled over for some reason, put out a young growth from the base, and the main plant died. And I thought, well, at least I've got a side. I call them side plants because they're not really kikis on the Aerangis genus. But yeah, and then the young growth died, and that was it, no plant left. So I lost mine relatively quickly.
And I think it was the same thing that happened with mine as well. It did put out a little side plant and then just seemed to keel over for no reason.
But I will get another one of those. They are relatively easy to get in European Union.
And well worth their place in any collection, aren't they? Because it takes so little space.
Yes.
It takes up so little space.
There are quite large Aerangis. I had ellisii once that's like a phalaenopsis-like plant, and the leaves are like 8 or 9 inches each going out sideways, so you're looking at quite a hefty plant.
Wow.
And it bloomed, and the bloom spike took 13 months from its instigation down to the floor until the buds formed.
13 months.
13 months to produce the spike and bloom. Beautiful blooms, beautiful fragrance.
And what happened to it?
6 months later, it just, over a period of about a week, it dumped its leaves and did the toes up, brown bread. Never knew why. But I must say, in my Aerangis book, a sort of encyclopedia of the genus, it does actually say in the brief view of the genus that many in the wild are short-lived.
Right.
So maybe there is a trait there that's worth noting.
Yeah, yeah, and perhaps that's what happened to my citrata then, I don't know.
Well, mine was only a young plant. Shouldn't be that short-lived. It does need to perpetuate. But
So what else do you have then, Roger?
I've got one that looked like it was going to bloom just before I came over to Ireland, and so we may have a surprise bloom when I get back. And that one is decaryana, and
Okay.
that's one of the real highlight ones that grows in quite open forest valleys, almost always found near running water, even over it, and on
Right.
branches that are over, so quite deep ravines, but very brightly lit. So that's a highlight Aerangis.
Okay. Oh, we look forward to seeing that then.
That's got 5 spikes on. They won't all be
Wow.
open because they're 2 plants. One plant's got 2 spikes, which should be the ones that are open. I think they last like 3 weeks because it has bloomed before, and then the other 3 on the other plant should follow on. So I should have that in bloom for probably 2 months overall. I've got that one.
Super.
I've got the fastuosa,
Oh yes.
which is
yeah.
now, although probably twice the size of that, but that's still a miniature plant. That's as big as it gets. It doesn't get any bigger, and that blooms reliably every year. And first year, one spike, 2 or 3 blooms. Second year, 2 spikes, and earlier this year, 2 spikes. So it's now a reliable bloomer. Now has a plantlet coming out of the side that's heading up to the size of the mother plant. So in theory that should add to the number of spikes, in
Right.
theory. And then we've got the nuisance one. You must have seen me in my videos swipe my hand across mystacidii. Mr. I don't want to bloom. It never has.
Some plants are just
I
like
think I've
that,
had that
aren't
3
they?
years now, but having seen some pictures of plants in bloom, I can now relatively safely say I don't actually think mine's blooming size yet.
Oh,
That's my excuse, and I'm sticking to it.
good man.
But maybe this year. That's the fastuosa I've got, and the mystacidii are medium light Aerangis. Some are low light. They're deep, thick forests, evergreen forests, right down near the base of the forest. That's got to be low light. So when you get an Aerangis, they go from high light through the mediums down to low light. It probably would be better to know which one you've got
Which one,
to
yeah.
know the light levels.
And tell me, do you have a favourite of the different Aerangis that you've grown?
I think the decaryana. I mean, the mystacidii might be the all-time favourite.
No, but of the ones you've seen
you
so
need to
far
bloom
now.
first. No, the decaryana, because of the sheer number of blooms. The fastuosa doesn't have many blooms on a spike.
Right.
It is incredibly fragrant though. And the decaryana has many more blooms. I think there's probably about 10 on a spike.
Super.
Very highly fragrant. That bloom from my grow room will scent the downstairs of the house if the patio door's wide open. So the whole of the lounge and into the kitchen.
Okay. Very
So,
nice.
yeah,
Very
very
decarii.
impressive. But as I say, it's they're all basically white, but you can get ones with pinkish tinges, browny tinges.
Brownish tinge, yeah,
Green
that-
is quite
yeah.
dominant as a tinge, but fundamentally they are white blooms. They don't need colours. They're night pollinated. So yeah.
Super. Okay, and I think that's about it then in terms of Aerangis. What are you going to say?
Whatever.
Whatever.
I say Aerangis.
Okay, so remember you heard it here. Roger recommends which one?
Decaryana, it's a miniature.
Uh-huh.
And it's got lovely leaves with wavy edges, and often the wavy edge has got like a little tinge
Right,
of reddish
super.
purple.
And just before we finish here, if we can come in and have a look at the leaves on this one here, because it's quite a feature. They seem to have kind of like white speckles on them. Really very nice, so that the leaves on this in their own right are worth putting the plant in your collection, even if you don't manage to flower it.
This is unusual, I must admit, I forgot to say, to have curly
Oh yeah, the
Yeah,
spurs, yeah.
yeah.
And that's right. And you'll have seen in the intro to this video, I've put some photos in there of this as the spurs unfurled, because they really are attractive.
And they're longer than any of the spurs on any of my Aerangis. Well,
Right.
both of them, of the two.
Okay. All right, that's all from us. Thanks very
Us.
much for watching.
Likewise.
Okay, okay, check back again soon for lots more gardening and orchid videos.
Bye for
Bye.
now.
And here I am back again, 6 days after Roger has gone home, just to add a little bit onto the video and show you my Aerangis punctata in full flower. Now this one is a complete cutie. And I suspect I have the albiform, although it wasn't sold to me as such, because there's more a tint of green in the petals than brown. As far as I'm concerned, that looks like perfection there on the mount and the long, long spurs. How do I cultivate this? How do I keep it? And you already heard how different Aerangis can have different light requirements. Well, this one I keep on a south-facing window, but well shaded by other plants. So I suppose intermediate light levels. I've had it a couple of years and it's the first time it's flowered for me. It's on a mount, so it gets watered every couple of days, and I keep it at room temperature in the house. So, well, a warm orchid. I'm just over the moon with this. It's like complete perfection. It's everything an orchid should be as far as I'm concerned. Tiny little miniature, but the way it presents on the mount, the fat juicy roots, the speckled leaves, which are a feature onto themselves. We're not seeing the white spots on the leaves so well here. And then the flowers, the long, long spurs. Definitely recommend it. Okay, that's all for now. Thanks very much for watching, and this really is the end of the video. Bye!